So we are going to use the intermediate value theorem to find a zero. I have a setup. We got x to the fifth minus 2x squared minus 13. I can actually see the graph right here. What pops up, if you had were out here, you can see that here we are. Here's the graph. It kind of has a peak, it has a valley, it's crossing here. So what this problem is saying is between 1 and 2 that there is a zero of sorts. And the way that we find that to be true and that we can use our intermediate value theorem is when we look at what P of 1 is. If you look at P of 1, this is negative 14. And when you look at P of 2, this is actually a positive 11. So because it goes from negative to positive, we know that somewhere in here it crosses the x-axis. And if it crosses the x-axis, then that means that we have a zero there. Now remember, the zero is also another name for saying an x-intercept, and that's actually the terminology we've used in previous math classes a great deal. But somewhere between here, between it going from negative 14 to 11, it crosses. Now we did just see where that happened. On your calculator, if you go to calculate, you can practice doing this using 0, that's number 2. And remember, calculate is second trace. So if you put that in, you go to number 2 and you just follow directions for it. You'll have to find the left bound, right bound, and hit enter on it. So that's one way. Another way is if you go to your table set, the table set, which is second window. You can actually change the window. Start at the table start is going to be at 1, and then the delta table, which is this is the size of your each increment. You can set this to 0.1, and if you do that, you will see then that when you go back to your table to look at it, that if you are looking for where it changes from negative to positive, you can tell that we will then be able to tell that it's going between 1.8 up to 1.9. We know that there is an x-intercept here. 0 is going to be between these two values. And then you could go back to your table start and then say, okay, now that I have this, I'm going to do the table start to be 1.8, and my delta table is going to be 0.01. So if I do that, we then see that it now goes from 1.81 to 1.82 is where our 0 is. And you can just keep going like this if you want. Now, we saw on Desmos, it's super easy just to click on it, that this is at 1.813. So however you decide to do it, this is just some tricks of how to get it. We know that x is 1.813. The intermediate value theorem really comes into it where if we go from a negative to positive, same thing here. We go from a negative to a positive, and both of those, there is an x-axis crossing, so it does cross the x-axis there. And we do know that this is where it happens. So that's just some ideas on how to do it. We've got these two types using the table on the right, or if you just want to use calculate and find the zero, you can do that. Okay, thanks.